James is having pumpkin honey teriyaki stir fry. I'm gonna review this a little bit. A Quiet Place Day 1, Inside Out 2, and Long Legs. And it looks like
the most
James
famous
has
bum shot maybe in history.
albums to review. And this is why I brought out the painting course, because I did this in it was one of the assignments from the Complete Painter.
Yeah.
But I don't have all the oil painting supplies that I need yet to do stuff, so I'm just playing around. And so that one I didn't follow the instructions at all. It's the lesson on doing the table that's Norman London's Simple Still Life 3 cups. And so it's just a table and the wall and 3 cups on the table. And anyway, so in that lesson, what he advises people to do is do a brown scale. So it's all in brown, just different, from like lighten down the brown with the white so that it's all even, and then do that. But I didn't want to do that, so what I did instead was I decided to do a mixed media thing, and I used soft pastels mainly on the hand and on duck. Oh, you probably can't see. I will take it down so I can show you. I use soft pastel mainly here and here because it's lighter and it looks different than oil pastel. And then I did the oil pastel in the background, but I have these really crummy oil pastels that came with a kid's art set. Oh, they're bad. And you can tell, you can see the black and the purple, they're basically like wax crayons, and bad wax crayons, not even good ones. So it's very hard to do anything with them. Oil pastels should be nice and creamy smooth. And just blend together really nicely, but
it looks somewhat pointillist, like little dabs of whatever.
Whatever. I mean, it's...
You made a consistent sort of thing.
I tried to do something with it.
Like a background.
Yeah.
Of course, the real star of the show is up here.
Yes.
You always
and so,
do pretty darn well with animals.
Well, this isn't a great rendition of my toe cake gecko that I had when I was young, named Duck. She was wonderful. She was tamed almost instantly, and
some of them not so much, right?
No, many of them they'll keep biting and whatever, but she just took to me, and I guess I was gentle with her, and I fed her well, and she was very thankful. I gave her a nice home to live in, and anyway, so
lots of personality in the eyes there.
Oh, she was so
both
wonderful.
Eyes, yeah.
She was such a lovely tokay gecko. And so when I was watching this, I was thinking of how when I first started doing art, really, I mean, I'd do wax crayon pictures when I was a little kid, whatever. But when I decided to start as a teenager, then I had my duck, and I'd have her right there with me all the time. So she was always there while I was drawing away. And
so could you spell that name?
Duck?
Just like a D-U-C-K?
Yes.
Okay, there were. I heard Duff at first.
Oh, so. No. So Duck, she'd just mostly sleep, because I mean they're awake at night for the main part, and which they don't make any noise anyway. It's not like they keep you awake. So she'd mostly just lay there while I was doing artwork. Sometimes she'd wake up and she'd start moving around, but it didn't matter, because back then I was mostly I was either drawing with pencil, which I didn't like to do, but my mom worked at a print shop, and she would take home the scraps that they would cut off the ends of the papers for notepads, and so I'd have like little sheets to draw on. So I draw on those. But I liked doing the oil pastels, and so mostly what I did was oil pastels. So I did a lot of pictures like this one. A lot of artists will do pictures of their hands because they're seeing their hand all the time, right? So that's something they'll look at their hand. But I would look at Duck almost every time I was drawing a picture, so she would be the star of my picture all the time. So what I was trying to do here is, he was mentioning in one of the courses, one of the lessons, he was mentioning how different colors, I guess hues, whatever, they'll have, some will be darker and some will be lighter. And it doesn't, like with this, it was supposed to be a brown scale, so brown would be dark or light all the way through, right? But sometimes, like when you're getting a set of oil pastels, you're like, where is this on the light dark scale? And you really have to monkey around because it's hard to tell. So, or markers or something else that it's not, it's pretty much, it comes as that color and then you got to work with it from there, right? So yeah, I was just playing around with that whole idea there.
So was the guy saying with hues or something like that? Hues are colors of the rainbow, right? The pure colors?
Okay, but with any colors, I think if you, sometimes they're lighter and sometimes they're darker on the light dark scale.
Yeah, so the term, I think the technical term is tints are like pink by comparison with red. And this is shades, right? Where
yes.
Where you throw in gray.
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know.
I just wanted to, I didn't know what he was
doing.
Talk
art.
Yeah.
I only am interested in learning how to do art, honestly.
Exactly. The terminology doesn't matter.
No.
It's just so people understand out there. I wasn't even sure what you were saying.
Okay, sorry. So,
well,
yes, the shades of different colors. So, I can't imagine there would be a very dark yellow ever. I think that would be very tough.
That would be called a brown.
Well, I suppose, wouldn't it?
So
but,
really shades are, like you can get a shade of purple, it's called puce.
Yes.
It's kind of like a brown.
Yeah.
You can get reddish browns.
When I was doing this, I was like, where is,
Orange
like,
browns?
I didn't know if my green should be where, like, I put my green, I just put a number 3 there and a number 4 for the orange. And there's some orange in 5 too, which is a darker one. But and blue in 3, 2, between 3 and 2. And there's a blue way up here that's really dark. But anyway, and here I am, I put the picture over there where you can't see anymore. But,
I'll see it for you. How's that sound?
But anyway, so I was thinking, well, should my 3 and my 4, should the green and the orange be, like I couldn't tell which one was lighter or darker. And so I turned off the light, because when you turn off the light, then the sun isn't, because color is made by light. You don't see color without light. So I turn off the light and I look at it and I can see the grayscale, and everything looks really smooth. But the jump actually was between the 2 and the 3, and I hadn't even noticed that.
Weird.
Yeah. But then I put the, like I thought for sure something was off with the 3 and the 4. It looked fine in the dark. And then with the 2 and the 3, then I put that light blue in between the green and the peachy skin color, and it worked out.
I think he might have been talking about something else with grayscale. Like with a yellow, that's the brightest you can get. That's why I think what we're talking about with the grayscale is like red and green are the same, like seeing them in the dark.
Yeah.
And that's why people are colorblind, can't distinguish between those, because what they're using to distinguish colors is just how they fit on what I think is the grayscale. I don't know, but yellow with the relative dark is just going to seem like white by comparison with blue or purple.
Yeah.
They're going to seem darker, blacker, or something like that. I see. That's why I was asking. It wasn't so much. It was to clarify a point. I wasn't really sure what you were talking about. And I think you were talking about something else other than the shades.
So how I got duck's eyes so
Vibrant.
yes, and so they're the focal point, right? Is I use marker. So this is a very much mixed media thing. There's a lot of different things, and I wanted to talk about that. I went to Michael's and gathering art supplies and trying to find what I have that's all over the place, because for some reason, I took my art supplies out of the Rubbermaid tub labeled art supplies. I don't know what I was thinking. It was almost empty. And, well, anyway, so I now have to find some things. But I went to Michael's and yesterday, and there was a woman there, and she was looking, I was looking for something else, but she was looking at the paper. So I was in the aisle, and she was looking at different pads of paper, and she wanted to try to find paper to do acrylic paints on, so acrylic paper, rather than having to work with canvas all the time. And I could hear her talking with her husband, and when she said, oh, mixed media, this should work, I thought, oh God, no, because it will not work. Mixed media will work for this, for a picture with, you know, soft pastel, oil, pastel, pencil, marker, ink, whatever. It'll work for that sort of thing, charcoal, but it will not work for acrylic. So I turned around and I pointed to the pad that said acrylic, and she thanked me for helping her.
Well, that's good. You gotta help people out.
Yeah,
because sometimes these things are really expensive. Right?
They are. Art supplies are expensive, and you don't want to make that mistake if, you know, you're looking for a specific thing and whatever. So I'm almost set up so that I can do this complete painter the way that it's meant to be done, because it's actually, although it says complete painter, it's actually the complete oil painter. So bear that in mind. You might be able to do it with acrylic, but you won't be able to do it with watercolor. So it's just not, it's not a complete painter grade course, actually. And it is better to do as oil, in oil paints, because that's what he's doing. So the different paints, they react differently. You have to work with them differently, they look differently in the end, whatever. But we'll see how that goes. So now, as far as I'm concerned, these are all fairly close to bottom of the stack. A Quiet Place Day 1. I don't like these Quiet Place horror movies. I think they're pretty stupid. It's a whole apocalyptic thing, and there's aliens have taken over the world and whatever. Who cares?
Sounds like the Republicans.
And so this one, they're in New York, and I like the way it started. It talked about the sound decibels in New York, and just an average spot in New York at any given day, it's the it's the noise level of somebody screaming constantly. Like, horrible. You want to live like that, right? And
people flock there, though.
Like, I live in the city and I can't stand it. And when I first moved to Calgary, it was very difficult for me, and then moving here seemed so very quiet. And I thought, you know, after a while living here, it seemed loud. And
it is loud.
It is loud. And every day I think, gosh, it's loud here. I think, well, I felt like it was quiet once I came from Calgary. So it's something to keep in mind,
relative,
you know.
But it's not all relative.
I know.
Do feel it.
You do.
Like I came in from Sterling, 20 miles. It used to be 20 miles southeast of Lethbridge. It still is, but we measured in kilometers. I don't know, it might be 30 kilometers. And when I first moved into Lethbridge, I couldn't stand it. It didn't feel like I was going to have a nervous breakdown.
No.
I got really jumpy, and it lasted for a long time.
Yeah, it's difficult. So it's
and
always,
that wasn't here.
Yeah.
Like,
it's always good to invest in some good earplugs or something, so that you can actually get a good night's sleep because it's tough sometimes. But anyway, so for people thinking, oh, it's so loud, I'd like to have some quiet. Well, maybe you wouldn't if quiet meant, there's aliens taking over the world and they're going to eat you. Whatever.
Well, it's not the Republicans. Donald Trump's trumpeting everything. Something different. Okay.
So, well, mainly I didn't like the end that much. Maybe I like the song, but I understand she was in a difficult position, but frankly, if you're gonna go out as a hero. That's what I think. Inside Out 2. This is really, the animation is not good in this. Disney, I don't know what you're thinking, but do any kids want to watch this? It seems like it's something that school teachers might want kids to watch to, feel good about yourself. You're okay, or whatever. I don't know, but I guess there's 2 of them now, so maybe they have had success with that. Long Legs. Honestly, I think Nicolas Cage has finally been given roles that he deserves. Note, this is bottom of the stack.
But it's better than the usual fare.
I mean, I've said before, I've thought about putting Nicolas Cage on a no-watch list, right? So I don't know why he got so many roles.
It's funny. He must have pictures.
I don't know.
Movies, not just
I don't know. He must know. He has some good stuff on a lot of people, or bad stuff.
Yeah.
Depending on how you look at it. But I didn't actually mind him in the role he played in this too much.
Finally turning it around. That's good.
No, it's just this bottom of the stack.
Well, it's turned around a little bit.
Well, I'm just saying this is where he ought to be.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
It bottom of the stack, but whatever. It was barely watchable.
After Raising Arizona, the only thing that I enjoyed,
everybody expected so much after that.
I know, was Ghost Rider, and that it's because I don't expect much. I know, but I don't expect much from comic books converted to movies.
Okay.
Well, how bad can it be? It turns out to be pretty bad, but still.
So I'm going to wait until James is done eating before I spray fixative on this picture.
Ooh, man,
I bought fixative, and there was only one of the kinds of fixatives there that I think might be usable. Like one said the Liquitex one said for acrylics only. So I was like, okay, not that one. And then the golden one, it's another golden acrylics, right? I read it, and yes, you can use that one on oil paints. So that one, okay, but that's just it, acrylic or oil, right? And so this other one was just a multiple use thing, and it said for on paper and whatever. So I think this one will be okay for this.
So you wanted to show that on camera?
No, I'm not going to show it on. I'm just going to spray it quickly and go back inside.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever
so
you're
I'll just keep
inside.
on eating. Yeah,
you can
okay,
keep
there we
eating
go.
Talking. Yeah,
I thought
because you wanted to review. It looks like Bruce Springsteen some more and whatever.
Yeah.
So you have 10 minutes to talk about Bruce Springsteen. Lots of time.
Okay.
And then I will come out in a little while and make it stink out.
So a day or two ago, I was reviewing a book by a dude called Carlin, a writer for People magazine back when I put the book out on Bruce Springsteen. I think the book was put out in 2007. Don't have it with me right now. I filed it under read, and not for immediate rereading, that sort of stuff. In other words, I'm saying it's maybe not the greatest book. It's not the worst by any. But I have other things that I've scheduled for rereading. Yeah. Textbooks for university. I like reading 3 times, preferably before the course even starts. I can remember one linguistics course I got hold of the text early, and I was through it 2.5 times before the first class. I took the last class, first class. Of course, that year with linguistics, I won I was an old geezer, almost a senior, and I won the prize at the university for the highest cumulative marks in the 2 introductory courses with linguistics. It's only the University of Lethbridge, but something I'm proud of. Here I am, not really blowing my own horn. It's kind of like kind of buzzing away on my clarinet or something. Anyway, got me thinking about the guy's attitude towards Bruce Springsteen. Got me thinking about Bruce Springsteen's early career, which is about the only thing that really matters to me, I suppose. So when I say early, I'm talking about the first roughly 12 years. It was first album I think was put out 12 years.
I brought you more water. It looks like you're running low.
Yeah. Anyway, the first album, I believe 73. Greetings from, I like this cover. See how it's like a postcard? Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. Now it came from Freehold, New Jersey, inland from Asbury Park. Asbury Park's, it has a boardwalk like Atlantic City, which is to the south of Asbury Park's kind of halfway in between New York and Atlantic City, which is more central or maybe even southern New Jersey coastline. The funny thing is, I didn't realize until I was reading this book that they used to surf. Maybe they still do in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just south of New York.
Huh.
Like one of the guys.
I
in the
did
band,
well
I
with the
think.
stir fry.
It's very good. I almost was continuing when I was doing the review. I thought, well, I do that enough. So
I was worried I'd overcook the pumpkin, but it's good still.
anyway, so this is almost like a solo album. He had the Bruce Springsteen band going and stuff like that. And the guy who encouraged Columbia Records to sign Bruce Springsteen heard him do a audition with a acoustic guitar, and he just got stuck on the idea that Bruce Springsteen is a solo performer, kind of like a folky and stuff like that, but he isn't really. He's a rock and roller from way back. So here's the second album. I believe it's put out 74, and you've got something like the original E Street Band. So this is called Bruce Springsteen, The Wild, The Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle. So there's a song called the E Street Shuffle on this. And you can see this band. It is maybe the best a version of the band. The drumming maybe isn't as good as what Max Weinberg was on Born in the USA, and maybe even back Born to Run, which is the next album after this one. So there's the big man, Clarence Clemons, died maybe 2011. There's Scooter, not really the little man, 5'9". At that point in time, he's maybe an inch taller than average person, guy in the world, I should say, not person. Gary Talent, bassist. Clarence Clemons was on saxophone. Danny Federici, they say. It should be Federici, I'm pretty sure. It's despite the blonde hair, I think he's Italian. He died a while back of, I think, skin cancer. Poor fella. I would have thought it would be something else. There's David Sancius, who quit the group after this album. He wasn't fired or anything like that. This guy, Vinny Mad Dog Lopez, was fired because he got into a fight with Clarence Clemons. Clarence Clemons, I don't know if you've seen him, the saxophonist for the E Street Band.
I wouldn't.
They call him the big man. You maybe saw when his widow was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and they were making all sorts of jokes about the big man. He apparently was a NFL prospect. In other words, if he decided not to play with the E Street Band, he could have easily been in the NFL.
Wow.
And Vinny Mad Dog Lopez. There's a reason why he's called Mad Dog. He was going around punching people. He decided one time, about the last thing he did for the East Street Band, in the East Street Band, he decided to push around Clarence Clemens. And Vinny Lopez says, he bounced me like a ball. That's how mad he was. You never, like Mad Dog, you never ever take on someone that much bigger than you. It's just stupid. Anyway, he was back with the band when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And he was a pretty good drummer. They say he maybe got amped a little bit too much. But this is Bruce Springsteen's best album. I didn't realize when I got hold of it, because the production's pretty bad. John Landau, who'd been a rock critic, criticized the production of the first two albums in a review that Bruce Springsteen read, kind of like over John Landau's shoulder. He didn't realize it was John Landau. And but I don't really care that much about production. What I like is actual songs, and that includes lyrics. And the songs and lyrics here, there's some amazing stuff. This is kind of bothering me. On this album, like Sandy, I think it's July the 4th, Asbury Park, but most people would think of it as Sandy. Awesome song. Wild Billy's Circus Story or something like that. It's just acoustic, but with I think maybe accordion in the background, something like a few other things. But very well told. And then Incident on 57th Street, and that one's quite good. And then Rosalita, and then New York City Serenade. The last four songs are awesome. He's never had a stretch like that. And the only ones that are kind of let the side down are Kitty's Back and the opening song. Someone's kibitzing my review. Kibitzing, I should say. It's actually kibitz in German. It means lapwing. I guess lapwings are kind of noisy or something like that. So there's the classic album, considered the classic album, and it's maybe the second best of Springsteen stuff. Not enough. They dropped a couple of songs off of it. So some of the songs here are too long, and they should have had those other songs on there. And they should have cut out a lot of Bruce Springsteen, whoa, like vocalizations where he's not singing lyrics. He's actually pretty darn good at lyrics. So Clarence Clemens, I was looking at this the other day and said, boy, that guy had to lean down, because Bruce Springsteen's average height 5'9", and Clemens, I don't know what he is, well over 6 feet. To get Bruce Springsteen leaning on him like that, Clemens, I don't know if his back ever recovered. Anyway, so what we're looking at is this album I consider much more highly than I did when I was a kid, when I got hold of it. I thought it was pretty much garbage. I didn't like this one that much, but this one I consider now his best one. This one's second best, and his lyric and especially his musical gift started dropping off. Like you listen to Rosalita, and well, that's what I think of it. I think it's Incident on 57th Street. There are all sorts of different parts to it, plunked in and all that sort of stuff. When you listen to Thunder Road, it's got two different parts. Backstreet's got different parts. Born to Run has a